Hey, pleasant good afternoon, everybody. Barrett Cohen on 1890 WSCD Radio, the home of your Summit Country Day Silver Knights. And on this day, the home of sectional high school baseball, as the Silver Knights are one step away from advancing in state, but they have a very difficult task and a very good baseball team in front of them in the Madeira Mustangs. The Silver Knights come into this tournament with a number 3 seed. Madeira comes in with the number 2 seed. You can also add to their resume the number 5 team in the state of Ohio. It's going to be a great game today, as this our first broadcast on 1890 WSCD Radio, which will be your official home of everything Summit Country Day Athletic. It's 1890 WSCD Radio.
It's alright, don't need a reason why. Everything's alright. If you will stop, the world goes round and round, but some things never change.
Hi, I'm Q102's Brian Douglas. I'm on the radio Monday through Friday, 3 to 7 on Q102 with Laura Powell. But when I'm not, I'm getting all Mike's updates from the voice of the Knights, Barrett Cohen on WKNG Radio.
Welcome back to the O'Brien's pregame show on 1890 WSCD Radio, and we always call you each other doctor. I don't even know what that goes back to and dates back to, but Coach Andy Foley, let me be the first to tell you that this is the first ever interview on the new 1890 WSCD Radio, and I can't think of anybody to fulfill that obligation that one Dr. Andrew Foley. Give me a full report, welcome report.
Barrett, it's always good hearing from you, my friend. It's always a pleasure talking baseball with you.
Coach, for those who may be new, you're kind of like a celebrity in these parts. There's probably not many of them out there, but you're the former coach of the Summit Country Day Silver Knights, and you handed the reins off several years ago to Coach Tripp and Callis. But first and foremost, as we get set here in about a half an hour or so to play a big sectional final game against the Madeira, a very good Madeira baseball team. Tell us first about the very success story of the Summit Country Day baseball program. You can go back to, well back to that '95 state championship team, all the way back even further than that. Back when Coach Staten was in charge, handed the reins over. Year in and year out. Summit Country Day at this level of baseball has really developed a lot of players that have moved on and played collegiately. Talk a little bit about your experience with that.
Well, in the late 90s, the program was in a small decline, mainly because lacrosse was taking off on the east side of Cincinnati and at Summit Country Day, and our numbers were down. We were losing some players. And then in the year 2000, 2001 is when I was fortunately named the head coach by the athletic director at the time, Terry McConnell. And the numbers slowly began to pick up as the baseball program continued to succeed. And the numbers did come out. We really struggled for the first year in like 99 because we were so small. And then all of a sudden, the numbers began to pick up and our success continued. And through the 2000s, I think, from 2000 through 2007, we won a sectional championship every year but one.
Coach, tell us about, you follow this team closely. I think any coach that follows or coaches at a program and then moves on, it's kind of like an alma mater. You always kind of stick close to your roots, and certainly you've done that with Summit Country Day. You've seen this baseball team play. What exactly sticks out of your mind when you watch this baseball team day in and day out?
Well, you see players like a Jack Gustafson, who is probably, from what I've witnessed, the best hitter to come through Summit Country Day since I've been associated with the program. That was in 1999. I've seen a lot of very good players come through. But as far as being a hitter, I haven't seen anybody even close to him as far as talent at the plate. I had Nick Sweetering. I had a kid, Steve Johnson, back in the early 2000s, who were just fantastic hitters. But Jack's way beyond compare. I've seen guys like Gabe.
His power numbers, Coach, are almost unfair, aren't they?
Well, he's got 15 home runs, and a range-shortened season like we just had. It's just astounding. That's more than one every other game. Now, if you put them in Major League standards, that's putting you he'd probably average about 85 home runs if you're going to put it on a 162-game schedule, which is, you can't fathom something like that. It just blows your mind and what he's doing. And you get kids like Gabe Scott and Kenny Kerr and Slager and Hoffman, and you got guys coming through the program that right now that are just fantastic players. And how I always used to base my talent on, if I had 3 or 4 kids that I thought could play on a GCL level team, that I would be good. This team's got 5 or 6.
Well, that's a nice segue.
Team.
That's a nice segue to my next question. Because what is fun about watching this baseball team play is you being an Elder guy, me being a LaSalle guy. It certainly is this baseball team coached by Triffin Callis, a LaSalle guy. His assistant, Denny Nagel, LaSalle guy. This baseball team really bears the DNA, in my opinion, of a LaSalle High School, Elder, Moeller, X. The way they play, the way they push the envelope, the double steal, the putt and run. This is the way, the small ball, if you will. It's kind of like I was talking to Coach Callis yesterday. You could categorize this team as a bloop bomb. I mean, you got little guys that can get the job done, butt them over. Then you get big Jack Gustafson up there. Hits the long ball. Before you know it, you're in the hole 3-0. And this baseball team does the little things right. And you and I have seen it at the GCL level. And I really think he's bringing, and I speak of he as Coach Callis, brings that level of play to this baseball team. You agree?
Oh, I agree 100%. And when I was hired back in 2000 to coach the team by Mr. Terry McConnell, I discussed, I said, hey, I want to change the whole way the system, the programs work, and I want to change the mindset of this. I want to bring a GCL feel into this. I said, all I ask is permission to hire my assistants by the criteria that I think we're going to need to be successful. And that criteria was to hire GCL guys. My first assistant coach was Jason Poland, a former Elder star who did a great job with me for 5 years and then moved on, changed career paths and moved on. And then after he left, I hired Triffin Callis, Triffin came from LaSalle, and with Triffin came Donnie Nagel, also a former LaSalle superstar.
I think I called him Denny Nagel earlier, a little rich throwback there, Donnie Nagel.
Yeah, so, I mean, every assistant coach that I hired has GCL background, and there was a reason for that because GCL brand of baseball, in my opinion, is the best baseball you're going to get in the city of Cincinnati from top to bottom. Not that you don't have teams that can't play. I'm just saying top to bottom, I think the GCL is the premier baseball conference in probably the state, if not the whole Midwest. So I wanted to bring that feel into the baseball program. We did, and it was quite successful.
Let me ask you about tonight's game. You're coming in fifth-ranked team in the state. They come in with a higher seed at the number 2 seed in this bracket. There's no doubt about it. The Silver Knights have they got the cards stacked against them. If you want to look purely at numbers, we know it's this game's not played on paper, however. But what do the Silver Knights have to do? What do the Silver Knights have to do tonight to really take advantage of a very good Madeira baseball team?
Well, it always starts on the hill, and if they can get good pitching at whoever Coach Callis, I'm not sure who Coach Callis is going to.
He's got Big Jack going on the. He's got Big Jack on the mound. His battery mate will be Peter off.
Yeah, we talked about. We went out there and I had a dinner and we talked about who we would start. And he was leaning toward Jack, but I hadn't confirmed it. So Jack will do a good job. I think he's a senior. He's got experience. He hasn't pitched as much as maybe he would have this year if the weather hadn't been as bad as it had been. So, but when he's been on the mound, he's done a very good job. He throws the fastball in the low to mid 80s.
I'll be asking Coach Callis later. You may not know the answer to this, but maybe you do. I think if you look up and down that pitching staff, in MLB they call it 1 through 5. In this case, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, however the rotation goes that week. But I don't think Jack Gustafson is the number one on this baseball team. We've seen Kerr come take the hill and several others. Is there a reason why he's going tonight? Does he pose a threat to this Madeira baseball team that maybe some of the others don't?
Well, I think he throws Jack can pitch backward, which means he can throw off speed pitches and fast speed counts. Fastball counts. He'll throw off speed. He can pitch backwards, and that's experience from being a senior. And also, he does pitch his fair share in summer ball. So he's got a lot of experience on the mound. Maybe not. He hasn't pitched as much as maybe they had thought he was going to pitch this year because of the rain. That has something to do with it. But Jack has experience, and he can pitch backwards very successfully. I think Jack will maybe keep him off balance a little bit more. He can throw it in a fastball count. He'll throw a deuce at you or throw a slide piece at you and get you off balance and maybe get you to beat one into the ground. That may be what Coach Callis is coming from with this. Like I said, we didn't discuss in detail why he chose Jack. But yeah, Jack's a good pitcher, and so is Kenny. Kenny does a good job, and so does Tommy Kroll. I mean, and Slags does a good job. I mean, they do a good job. I mean, they got 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. I don't think they have a 1, 2, 3, 4. They got a bunch of 1A's and D's.
And am I wrong? You get into this part of the season, you throw Johnny Holstaff on the mound if you have to. And for those not aware of that cliche, that's you throw out there who you have to because there is no tomorrow.
There is no tomorrow. It's like the 7th game of the World Series. Every pitcher on the staff is sitting in the bullpen warming up if need be. It's just the way it is. You don't play. There is no tomorrow. You play for right now because there is no tomorrow if you don't win today.
I want to be like Bill Cunningham here, and I'm going to ask you, do you have any questions for me?
Just how someone as talented as you has stayed off the major airways as long as you have.
They don't get any bigger, in my opinion, than 1890 WSCD radio.